liked my last post where I was talking about mental health and depression, people suffering from depression. And I just wanted to say thank you because, again, all of the messages that I received from my friends and my family, once again, and people that I didn't know were so like heartwarming and beautiful and really encouraging. A lot of the responses I didn't expect, and I didn't think that I was gonna get like the kind of overwhelming messages that I received. So I just want to say thank you. I know that the last post that I did was very helpful to a lot of you and very helpful with trying to figure out like a way forward and just sort of how to deal. Now, I am not the professional when it comes to mental health and mental health issues. Everybody deals with their own problems differently. If you are suffering from any sort of mental health issue, disorder, then I suggest that you go and see someone. If you don't know who to see, feel free to ask. There are a few places that I could recommend. There are a few people that I recommend. Some of them take health insurance if you're insured. Some of them don't. Some of them are more expensive than others. And of course, some of them are free. I'll put some recommendations in the description box below. But I just wanted to say thank you, really. That was just very overwhelming, and just sort of answer a few questions that you had asked that were personal about me. So I think one of the questions was somebody asking me if I've ever taken medication for my depression. The answer is I have in the past. I am the least consistent person that I know. I probably took them for like a week and then was like, this stuff is not working, and then stopped. My current therapist put me on some herbal medication, which actually had the opposite effect. It was really horrible and got me even worse. So what I do when I can get out of bed and function is working out really helps for me. It really does help me slowly get back to being able to leave the house, for example. Like things that people just take for granted, like everyday things like getting out of bed, making breakfast. Like I said in my last video, I usually, in my downtimes, I don't eat, like at all. I don't eat. And I when I do get like hungry, the thought of food makes me sick. So I just drink water. Like I can survive on water. I've done it for months where like if it got really intense, then I would have like a small bag of peanuts or almonds or something. Tough times. But working out helps because it also burns a lot of energy, so it kind of gets me really hungry as well. And eating healthy is also really important. So just eating raw vegetables. I subscribe to a vegetarian lifestyle, so I don't eat meat. And that has really helped me as well. Working out and doing the kind of workouts that I enjoy doing. So like I really enjoy doing yoga. I'm not such a big fan of going to the gym, but sometimes. And I do pole dancing classes, which is for fitness, which is just the funnest thing to do, and it's really helped me as well. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is I'm not the only one in my circle of friends who suffers. My friends and I, we have a code, like a code that we try to abide by, and it's the 1 to 10 code. So just ask on a daily basis or as frequently as you can with your friends, just 1 to 10. And then 5 is a really good number. If somebody is suffering from depression, 5 is a good number. But any 1 and 2 is not so much. And that's when you know that you may need to intervene, just sort of be around them. You don't necessarily need to be in their space. But for those of you who have friends who are suffering the same thing, I know very recently we've been receiving a lot of news about young children dying in Kenya, specifically some video game that's going around that's causing people to commit suicide. I don't think the video game is the cause of the problem or the root of the problem. I think that by the time a child is doing something so drastic for a video game, then already they may have been calling out for help for a long time and perhaps you didn't notice. So just be very careful of those little signs that may occur. Like change in a child's behavior is something that you shouldn't brush off as they're teenagers, and something that you should talk to them or talk them through, because those are such critical times in a child's life and they really do need you as friends and as family members to be around and just to listen. Those calls for help are cries for attention are calls for help. So just pay close attention to those things. It's really terrible what's happening around the world, but specifically in Kenya today. There's a lot of young people who are choosing to take their lives. I have different thoughts on that, but then I just say, for anybody who's lost somebody or who knows somebody who's going through something. I mean, I'm currently dealing with a couple of friends who are really struggling right now, and it's such a struggle from the outside looking in, but it's also such a struggle on the inside, and it's really hard to be selfless in a time like that, and it's very easy to think that people who have decided to take their own lives are selfish, but to be completely honest, it does take a hell of a lot of courage to be able to go that far. So just like I said before, lend a helping hand where you can, do what you can, just be as sensitive to the other person's requirements and needs as you can, and don't take anything personal, because it has nothing to do with you and it has everything to do with the other person. I also thought that I would kind of look presentable for this video, because just kind of also to show that there are days when I really pick myself up by the bootstraps and sort of get on with it. And having been a public figure, a lot of people won't understand that. But it takes a lot of effort to be able to do this, and just to be able to get out of the house. And kudos to all of the people who do. I know many of you. Good for you. And let's just, once again, do what you can. Ochunaga jairana, ochunaga amanyiga, aduariga jairana seduari baba.